What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Jericho Report Weekly News Briefing. It is Sunday, the 19th of February, 2023. No shortage of doom this week. We got chemical leaks, we got World War III, we got all kinds of shit being shot down in the skies all over the place. As always, the first link below will take you over to the Patreon post. That's where you can find all the madness. Let's just catch up on some of the things that happened this week, shall we? Let's start off with bird flu. May mutate and kill more than 50% of humans who catch it. The bird flu is coming to get us. Someone yelled at me for downplaying this. I'm not trying to downplay it, but we got a lot of other stuff to get through. Mass deaths of sea lions from bird flu in Peru. Be advised, the bird flu is killing the sea lions in Peru. We got an outbreak of the Marburg virus, something like the Ebola virus going on. Be advised, here comes the Ebola making a return. CBS News Medical Corps contributor claims decline in vaccination and mask use against COVID causes heart attacks in young adults. You got that? If you don't get the vaccination, you will have a heart attack, says CBS News medical contributor. But look at this, and I'm not even going to read this out loud. I'm just going to play this video. Look what the mainstream media is reporting.
There's a new study that looks at our body's immunity after getting COVID.
Yeah, it finds the immunity that naturally builds up in our bodies after a COVID-19 infection is as protective as the 2 doses of the mRNA vaccines against severe illness and death. Fascinating.
Did you catch that? Hey, YouTube, how about all those people that you censored who were saying this stuff in the beginning? Oh, let's just see what our body's immune system does as it does its thing. The mainstream media, are you calling that fake news now? Anyway, we got this guy, John Legend. He comes out and says, I'll just here to play this message.
I got an updated COVID-19 booster. My family did too.
I'm sure they did.
I encourage you to talk to your healthcare provider.
How much is Pfizer paying you to shill?
To check eligibility and schedule an appointment.
You'll notice if you scroll down, who can reply? Only people Pfizer. I know it's Pfizer, by the way. That's just a shout out to King of the Hill. Follows and mention. You cannot comment on this post. Pfizer, what are you trying to hide? I'll put a link to that. Brown graduate 26 named Forbes 30 under 30 collapses and dies competing marathon Arizona. Just completely healthy person. Everyone's. Mississippi sees 900% rise in number of infants born with congenital syphilis. They're blaming this on, increasing causes of inadequate prenatal health care. Inadequate prenatal health care, 900% increase. Makes sense to me. I'll put a link to that. We got other stuff going on. We got mass shootings that happened this week. Michigan State University shooting, 3 killed, 5 injured, including the gunman, I think, something like that. And we had a shooting down in an El Paso mall. Off-duty police officer took down suspect. Good guy with a gun saved the day. And Joe Biden news, or Joe Biden adjacent, baffled Dianne Frankenstein walks out of Senate chamber meeting wondering what just happened. Did I just vote for that? I'll put a link to it. And in Joe Biden news, listen to this sick bastard give his 4-year-old daughter over to Biden.
He's a good one.
My 4-year-old asked me to ask you this. If she can introduce you. Sure she can. Okay, there we go. With or without you.
With or without you. Over to financial news. How Med U.S. stock index is fared on Friday, 217. Looks like the Dow fell 11 points on Friday. For the week, the Dow was down 42 points. Another flat week in the markets. I'll put a link to the recap data. There's a new inflation warning for consumers coming from the supply chain. Be advised from CNBC, the prices are going to get even higher. How about this gas bill? $907 sticker shock as California's prices soar. Gas is soaring all over the place. Meanwhile, a dozen eggs now cost more than a pound of beef as prices soar 70%. But all our money's going to Ukraine. In fact, the U.S. leads the rest of the world with $196 billion given to Ukraine. Why? Well, because Mitch McConnell says this is important.
Defeating the Russians in Ukraine is the single most important event going on in the world right now.
Is it? Or is it the American families can't feed themselves because everything's prices of shit is so high? The Biden administration turns down Ohio's request for disaster assistance after toxic derailment. Of course, this train derailment, that's a whole other story coming up in the Earth Changes, Ben. Oh, I think they're reversing their decision now. I think this is the latest headline. But can you imagine turning down assistance to this toxic thing that's happening? Well, all the money's going to you. There's no money in the budget for that. Come on. Filthy homeless encampment set up inside Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Check it out. Homeless encampment inside the airport, and Ukraine is the most important thing. Give me a break! More layoffs coming to Meta soon, report shows. Oh, that breaks my heart. Hopefully some of those assholes have been censoring us all this time. In fact, 100,000 tech sector employees have lost their jobs since the start of 2023. 100,000. Put a link to that. Tesla admits full self-driving beta may cause crashes, recalls 363,000 Johnny cabs. I'll put a link to this. And we got one at the bottom. Doctors are disappearing from emergency rooms as hospitals are now looking to cut costs. Over to New World Order, Police State News. Where I stop and ask you, please share the video. There's important stuff coming up. Allow me to play a couple clips for you. Here's the World Government Summit panel. Says a shock is required for world order transformation. Listen closely now.
I totally agree that the world order, the way it is built today, doesn't make any sense. That is, it's not in line with the economic powers like India, Brazil, or Germany. You know that they don't have a massive role in the the international.
That's what he says here.
To me, the big question is how we are going to go through this transformation. It has to be. It cannot be gradual. It has to be driven by a certain shock that will happen.
It has to be driven by a certain shock that will happen. I believe that shock will be Operation Blackjack / Jericho, but I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist on YouTube. Klaus Schwab, in talking about artificial technology, listen to what he has to say.
Our life in 10 years from now will be completely different, very much affected, and who masters those technologies in some way will be the master of the world.
Yeah, call me a conspiracy theorist again. Breitbart puts this out. Bill Gates says AI can help solve digital misinformation problem. Oh, I'm sure it can. Speaking of that, Russia jails anti-war journalist 6 years for fake news. Fake news, and you're going to prison for 6 years. Bunker concealing guns and ammunition discovered beneath couch in Perth home. I guess that's Perth, Australia. Why is this in the new? Well, because it was probably meant to fight tyranny. If you looked at the couch folds up and you go down and there's this bunker, I say, what's wrong with that? Maybe they were looking to fight tyranny. Australian mother denied heart transplant due to her COVID-19 vaccination status. You don't have the vaccine, you can't have a heart. You can't live. That's the New York Post. Talk about tyranny. Not a single student proficient in reading or math at 55 Chicago schools. The dumbing down of America agenda. Christian teacher loses her job for refusing to deceive parents on kids' gender transitions. From the devil. That from Fox News. The trans movement comes after Down syndrome. Not the first time I've reported on this. And let me just be clear. It doesn't matter to me what a grown adult wants to be. You want to do this, that, be whoever you want to be. It's not up to me to tell you who to be. What pisses me off is the agenda against children, and now the agenda against Down syndrome. I mean, this is sick shit, folks. Violent pedophile who raped 3-month-old baby as a teenager quietly moved to a female prison with mother and baby unit after having transgender surgery in Canada. What the hell is going on? I got a couple at the bottom. Miscellaneous FBI raids Manhattan building used as secret Chinese police station. That from the Daily Mail. And we got one in immigration news. Quebec tells Eric Adams to stop buying New York migrants bus tickets. Stop putting this shit in my backyard. Over to World War III news. F-35s intercept multiple Russian military aircraft over Poland. I believe these were the Netherlands or the Dutch F-35 fighter jets. Put a link to that. Meanwhile, we got Air Force jets, U.S. Air Force jets intercept 4 Russian aircraft over Alaska. Well, it's nice to know we can actually intercept things coming into our airspace. Russia has deployed 97% of its army in Ukraine, but still struggling to advance. Put a link to this from the Wall Street Journal. Fox News says China mocks Biden for being blind to the toxic mushroom cloud over Ohio while obsessing over balloons. I agree with China. FAA abruptly cancels national defense airspace over Lake Michigan after reporting potential contact. We're just shooting down anything in the skies. UFO, again, U.S. closes airspace over parts of Lake Michigan after shooting down unidentified objects over Alaska and Canada. Put a link to this. White House says leading theory is objects shot down were benign balloons as it tries to tramp down on conspiracy theories that they created. Meanwhile, the Hobby Club wants its money back. Missing balloon feared shot down by the United States Air Force. Put a link to that. China threatens U.S. entities over the downing of the first balloon. Put a link to that. China says it also shot down an unidentified object in its airspace. Put a link to that. Top general said the U.S. could use balloons in the Middle East where the U.S. military is suspected Chinese spy. Yes, let's use this new technology called a balloon. I'll put a link to this, and I got one at the bottom. Check this out. While our kids are being mentally abused by the public school system, the Chinese are preparing for the next generation of soldiers. Look at this. This is amazing. Look at this. I do find it interesting that all of the tables are pyramid shaped. I'm just saying. check that out. Over to Earth Changes in 2012 news. Now get the earthquake set up for 6 points and above for the past week. We had a 6.6 on the 17th, a 6.1 on the 15th, 6.3 on the 15th, 6.2 on the 13th. The earth is rock and rolling. I'll put a link to this. Turkey, Syria earthquake update. UN expects death toll above 50,000. I think the last update I saw was in the 40,000s. Definitely heart goes out to the people over there. That just video shows Turkey's Erdogan bolstered letting builders avoid earthquake codes. Apparently he let them avoid earthquake. Well, you see the result of that. Back home in America, we basically nuked a town. 3 more chemicals discovered in Ohio. Train derailment. Let me just play a little bit of this.
Those details and much more in our top story tonight at 6.
We now know 3 more chemicals that were on board the Norfolk Southern train that derailed here in East Palestine just over a week ago. And we're being told that some of those chemicals are dangerous.
We basically nuked a town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open.
The U.S. Environmental...
You guys are paying attention to this. Check it out. This lady lives 10 miles east of Palestine, Ohio, and all of her chickens died overnight.
Amanda Brashears was going to feed her 5 hens and rooster this morning when she discovered them all lifeless, practically in the same position, with no signs of a predator entering their enclosure.
I'm beyond upset and quite panicked because they may be just chickens, but they're family.
Brashears says her chickens were alive and well yesterday. She believes the smell following the detonation of the train carrying chemicals that derailed in East Palestine is to blame for her birds' sudden death.
And there's all kinds of videos out there. I'm sure you've seen them of dead fish and, some chemicals in the water, people throwing bricks in the pond and all these chemicals coming up from the bottom that's seeped all. This is a disaster, people. Did you know, let me put a link to this. Scroll back up here. After a train derailment, Ohio residents are living the plot of a movie they helped make. Did you know they just made a movie about this same scenario in the same area on Netflix just months ago? If you scroll down, you can just watch a little bit of the trailer.
They're calling it the Airborne toxic event.
We won't come this way.
Will we have to leave our home?
Of course not.
How do you know?
I just know.
Okay, what if...
I haven't watched the movie yet, but I might check it out. Other news going on. Truck loaded with hazardous materials overturns in Tucson. What is this coming out of this truck, this yellowish hue? There's all kinds of chemical shit going on this week. Down in Florida, a 5-acre warehouse goes up. Definitely need to pay their carbon tax. Put a link to that. We got train carrying hazardous material derails outside of Detroit. Another train derailment. Emergency crews respond to a deadly train derailment. This is down in Texas. What is going on with these trains coming off the rails? We got almost broken plane news this week too. United Airlines flight nearly plunged into the Pacific Ocean after takeoff. And we got one at the bottom. The White House says, no, there are no hot green alien bitches landing. Sorry. I know somebody out in Colorado who's really looking forward to that event. And Blog Knock from Accounting Your Days Are Numbered as well. Over to strange and bizarre news. Customer orders McFist with a quarter pounding at McDonald's. Check this out. I don't know where this is happening. Somewhere at McDonald's. There's just all kinds of madness going down. This video goes on for a while. There's craziness at the McDonald's. Check this out. Did you watch the Super Bowl? This guy apparently had some money on the wrong team. What? I got too much money on this. This poor television. Oh my God. No. What you want? I'll kill this TV. I'll kill this TV. Get away from me. Okay, what? The man comes home and catches dude peeping at his wife. Yeah, you don't want to be this guy. That's what you get, man. That's what you get. Put a link to that. We got now. Check it out. What is this over here? This is like a dead tree kind of leaning over. Watch what happens. He jumps up and kind of frightens this guy. And is it justified what happens next? I don't know. Was it just a reaction? Did he mean to hit him in the face? Did he just startle the guy? But watch, the tree apparently gets very offended by this.
Hit him in the face, bitch. What's wrong with you? Man, hey, I don't play that shit. Hey, don't put your hands.
Maybe you shouldn't be jumping up in the trees. Shouldn't be attacking people. New York City, apparently, U-Haul driver, U-Haul truck is running people down. I'll put a link to this Fox News. We got East Park High. Speaking of driving, wrestling coach fired, admits doing donut with the team bus. Well, what's wrong with that? Put a link to that. Get that man his job back. Ann Coulter tells Nikki Haley to go back to your own country. Oh, come on, racist rant, this and that. Check this out. Speaking of craziness, did you hear what Chris Cuomo said?
I do accept
because I was going to kill everybody, including myself. Things can consume you. Italians are so passionate. And
yeah, I wonder if the DHS, the FBI, and the other guys, they'll be over to take his firearms. He's apparently wants to kill himself and kill everybody. He's saying some people are never coming back. This lady is apparently upset at the gardener. She rips off his trash can and she doesn't want to be filmed, so she puts it over her head.
Sancho's garden service.
She doesn't like the gardener. And check it out. If you just saw this snake, you'd be like, oh, that's a big snake, but you ain't seen nothing yet. Watch what happens next. Ah! Look at that thing! Look at that thing, man! Holy shit! That's just what you do. Never play with fire in an elevator. This guy finds out the hard. Well, let's see what happens if I light this on fire. What is it? I guess it's some sort of alcohol. Something drops on the floor. I guess he spills more alcohol on it. That seems like a good idea right now. He's on fire. He's trapped in an elevator. There's nowhere to go. The door finally opens, I think, but he's all burnt up and kneeled over, and he's just not having a good day. Don't play with fire in an elevator. And then I got one at the bottom. State Senator asked trans pharmacist, do you have a penis? Have you seen this video?
You said that you're a trans woman.
A trans female, yes, ma'am, sir.
Do you have a penis?
That's horrible.
I was kind of on her side. In fact, when you read into the story, though, she is a pharmacist doctor who likes to help little kids transition. I can't say I support that. Anyway, that's all the news I got. For all the news, please check my favorite videos. U.S. preparing for largest land and air battle since World War II. Good video over there from a new YouTuber I found. Is avoiding World War III possible, says Fox News. A lot of World War III talk. Patriot Nurse put a good one out. Everything you know is about to change. Jam Noise 72 talks about automation of journalism, how there's no real journalists anymore. Shout out to her. It's good to see her still around. This guy, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, somebody at Lowe's is having a bad day. Couldn't get something down off a shelf and it ended up, I don't know. Anyway, check my favorites. Thank you to everybody still putting out content, keeping everyone informed. You guys are doing awesome work. I got a few shout-outs this week, and allow me to play a clip for you. Elon Musk, I got to give a shout-out. I'm surprised at what he's saying here. Listen to what he's saying about world government.
I know this is called the World Government Summit.
Listen to this.
But I think we should be maybe a little bit concerned about actually becoming too much of a single world government. If I may say that we want to avoid creating a civilizational risk by having, frankly, this may sound a little odd, too much cooperation between governments. If you look at, say, at history and the rise and fall of civilizations, that really all throughout history, civilizations have risen and fallen, but it hasn't meant the doom of humanity as a whole, because there've been all these separate civilizations that were.
Yeah, I agree with what he's saying, and I'm quite frankly concerned for his life talking like that. And let me just say one more thing: death to the New World Order. Shout out to Roseanne Barr, man, she is just coming back to life.
My whole family's a bunch of libtards, as I've said, and Vince called me a conspiracy theorist the whole time, but everything I said turned out to be true. Did they apologize? Hell no.
She goes on to talk about the people who got the, and stuff I can't talk about. I'll put a link to the shout out. She's just nailing it. And shout out to South Park. This clip made me laugh. Some people might not like it. I'm just going to play it. I just laugh so hard. You just never know where South Park's going to go.
We just want to be normal
Update on the royal family.
It's so hard. Isn't it true, sir, that your questionable wife has her own TV show and hangs out with celebrities and does fashion magazines? What are you suggesting? Well, I just think some people might say that your Instagram-loving bitch wife actually doesn't want her privacy. How dare you, sir? My Instagram-loving bitch wife has always wanted her privacy.
Oh, I just love it. I'll put a link to it. That's all I got for this week, guys. If you like the report, please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you think it sucked, it's like this guy's just a run-on sentence. When's he going to shut up? Thumbs it down. I don't care, whatever. I appreciate it either way. You can also support me on Patreon or directly with DonorBox. I put a lot of these reports, and I appreciate any support. A lot of time goes into this every week. Also, be sure to follow me on all my links. BitChute, Twitter, Gab, Facebook. All the links are at the bottom. Tell me your thoughts on what's going on. What's going on in Ohio? Do I have any subscribers in the area that can report in the comments? How's your drinking water affected? Are you seeing, dead animals, dead fish? I mean, the media doesn't want to seem to talk about it very much. And somebody on GLP brought up the fact that, well, if you look who owns the railroad that crashed, of course it's all the New World Order, so of course they're trying to keep it hush-hush. But the thing's getting so big now that, even they're coming out and changing their story about sending aid and sending FEMA and all this stuff to give these people some help. We got the Russian thing going on. Apparently a lot of people are concerned that Russia is going to start World War III at any moment. Nukes are going to start flying. Tell me your thoughts. That's all I got for this week, guys. You guys take care, stay safe, remain vigilant always. I love you very much. Thanks for hanging out with me for a few minutes on a Sunday while I give you the news. Have a good rest of the weekend. Have a good week. I will see you on the next one.